What's up guys, it's Akuma here. Today we're going to be redesigning Akuma. If you're new here or old as well, I always try and put up polls on my YouTube, Instagram or TikTok just of what you guys would like me to redesign or draw. It's a good way for me to practice my illustration skills and it's just a bit of fun. Akuma won on the Instagram poll, he had more votes. So if you're not already, please follow on my socials, on my Instagram or just YouTube. And yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. I have a few designs for Akuma. Obviously, he is the raging demon consumed by the Satsui no Hado. I've always liked Akuma as a character, how could you not? He's just edgelord and even his demon form. But yeah. My first introduction to Akuma was like Street Fighter Alpha. I used to play it on like the PSP. I think my dad had like a modded version. You could play all of them, and also Marvel vs. Capcom. I probably got into Street Fighter properly when it was Street Fighter 4 days. Not Ultra Street Fighter, not Super Street Fighter Arcade Edition, just Street Fighter 4. But yeah, and just as a thank you, I only started the channel this one. I think it's like 8 to 9 months ago, but the support and everyone who's been coming and watching, giving their opinion or things that I can improve on, I really appreciate it. So thank you for rocking on my journey with me. But if you're new here, as I said, or old, please like the video and subscribe and check out some of my other videos. I've redesigned Link, Mega Man as well, and I've also redesigned, who else? Link, Mega Man. I'm forgetting someone else. Link, Mega Man. Oh my gosh, my memory's terrible. And Sora from Kingdom Hearts. So please check out some of those videos if you haven't seen them. But I'm going to make a playlist dedicated to all of them. But I am in no way, any shape or form a professional. I'm just doing what I think would work personally. And let's redesign this demon called Akuma.
Alright, so we are drawing Akuma. So immediately, because Akuma is a muscular dude, I draw out a muscular physique, and just so you know, I use Procreate for all my drawings and all my logos. In the settings, you can kind of get like a symmetry line so that you can make just like a reference for yourself. So when you draw on one side, it creates the other, and vice versa. It just makes it easier whenever I'm doing concept art. In my mind, I had the idea that I wanted to give him a very tainted, kind of rustic aesthetic. I'll get into like what I was inspired by soon or later on in the video, but I decided to put like ropes around his arms. That's the idea that I came to with little kind of tags in a way. As I said, I'll get into it later in the video. But normally I draw them out in a different color. Whenever I'm sketching, I can be very free with what I'm doing. As you can see, my lines are all over the place. It's, you don't have to pay so much attention because this is just a sketch. You can be very free with it. This is the time where you basically just experiment with what you want to do. So you have the freedom to just draw on any layer, and there's no need to like pay too much attention to details or like where lines are specifically, because you can just have fun with it, mess around. I also gave Akuma some chains. I wanted him to have just like a raw look. Like, as I said, I'm going to get into it properly, but in my mind I was like, the idea of what if Akuma tried to get rid of the Satsui no Hado and he attempted like some sort of ritual. So I was going off that kind of basis of design, but I wanted him to keep his, his normal colors that he normally has, which is the tainted kind of blue gi, or purple, if we're talking about like Shin Akuma. I was experimenting with like ropes around his gi. That's something that Akuma has traditionally dawned on in most of his iterations, to be fair. But if it's not broken, don't fix it, I you know what, most of my designs which I think of, or kind of iterations of Akuma, come from like Street Fighter 4. Akuma had this sick costume where he donned like his normal prayer beads, and he had like a kind of like a head wrap on with like, it had like flames on it. It looked hella tired. I'll put it on the screen, of course, but I liked that tainted kind of look. So for Akuma, what I wanted to do was, because I was going off the notion that what if Akuma tried to purify the Satsui no Hado, I wrapped him, I put like ropes on his arms, and I put a Fuda on it. So normally, if you don't know, it's like paper or wooden talisman created or used by like shrine maidens or priests to like normally purify spirits or ward off evil entities or demons per se. I also added some Shide, forgive me if I butcher them, but like some Shide and Shimanawa. They're basically like paper streamers that resemble like lightning bolts in a way, and these are often kind of affixated to like sacred ropes, and if they're tied around like an object, it will also mark that object as sacred and also purify it to a certain extent to ward off like yokai. So objects, or you know, they're just not meant to be tampered with in a way, but because of the extreme case of Akuma here, that's the notion that I went off. So I basically just adorned him in a bunch of spiritual relics. Also Gohei, as you can see on the side, which is like normally it's meant to be attached to a wand or a staff, but for mine I decided to just add it just to the side of his pants. It's used in blessing and purification rituals, normally like cleansing of dark ki, yeah, that kind of thing. As you can see around his neck, I also decided to adorn him in Kagura Suzu bells. So normally it's meant to be on like a stick and resemble like a branch with berries on it. And the Kagura Suzu was used by shrine maidens to perform like a Kagura dance, and it enhances it with the sound of small bells. But in my mind, I said, you know what would be so cool? Obviously it's a religious relic, of course, but imagine Akuma does his raging demon, but instead of just seeing as normal, you know, coming to you and just beating up, imagine he just kind of zooms into you and all you hear is you know, the Akuma raging demon. Could never do it though, that button combination is silly. I even considered having him in like kind of wrapped up like the character in what's his name? Oh man, Runai Kenshin, Shisho Makoto, that's his name. I just like the idea of his design. But anyways, here you can see me writing out the symbol. I believe this is for purify. If I'm not wrong, I believe this is for purify, which is meant to just go around his neck, just off the notion of, you know, we're trying to purify this demon. So I basically just added some little scribbles of text, basically like maybe some sort of chants or phrases that will go around him. As you can see, as I colored his skin, I decided to reference Oni in Street Fighter 4, which is his full demonic form. I'm sure you've seen it. Asura versus Oni, that fight was amazing. If you haven't, go and watch it now. But I like the idea of what if the ritual kind of increased the Satsui no Hado corruption, and on areas on which, you know, the talismans and symbols and the clothing were wrapped around, it made his skin color change to, you know, just like a halfway point of his transformation. So his arms are turning purple, his feet are turning purple, that kind of thing. But I hope you pick up what I'm putting down. I hope this makes sense, but in my mind, I just logged that kind of halfway point. I also gave him like scars and made every item kind of have cracks and breakage on them because of the ritual failing. So normally the papers are meant to be burnt up, but I only made them just a bit like tattered. Here you can see me just coloring in, just trying to find out what colors I want to use for this. But I knew in my head that it was going to be the basic colors, but I think I was experimenting with his Shin Akuma colors, which is normally like a white and a purple in terms of the gi. And here you can see me, I gave him like, just those papers on his head for the Afuda, and just wrapped around his arm. Just looks like it just looks really cool in terms of like a kind of ritual failed costume or aesthetic that I'm going for. But I like that it just calls back to his original design, which is just so iconic in itself. So sometimes, as I said before, if it's not broken, you don't want to fix it. Here you can see me just adding minor details. As I said, normally the Kagura Suzu bells, I don't know why I said Zuzu, they're meant to be on like some sort of stick representing like the branches of like a tree. But in my instance, I was just decided to make these bells bronze to call back to his prayer beads, which he normally has around his neck. And I also added like some sort of shrine or paper to it as well. It just gives for a cool kind of design, like you know that this guy's trouble when he kind of pulls up. I gave him severe scarring because in my opinion that's what Akuma should have. He's been around for so long. He's basically like a war god almost. And as I said, don't forget about Asura versus Oni. If you haven't seen that fight, what are you doing? Go watch it, obviously after you finish the video. But also I want to use this point to just say thank you for watching this far if you have, and please just like, comment or subscribe if you are enjoying so far. Just helps to push the channel and just lets me know that you guys are enjoying, and hopefully pushes out to other like-minded individuals like yourself and myself. Okay, so here is the final concept. Really happy with the way it came out, with like the demon symbol on the back just being fully engraved now and starting to highlight itself or glow, and just two other variations where it's just a more rustic look with silver bells and just a more demon kind of Shin Akuma kind of look. Okay, so I drew out like a pose that I wanted him to be in. Right now it doesn't look like much, just like a general pose, but I wanted to give him some claws. The claws are out now. He doesn't have normal hands anymore. I could have given him like one hand be like a claw and one hand be normal, but nah, let's just give him two claws on each side. As you can see, here's me wrapping. This was kind of like a callback, just instead of having his prayer beads around his neck, I kind of just turned them into just balls that kind of sit on his side. And maybe they go all the way around, like maybe 6 or 7 of them. The prayer beads, the giant prayer beads that he's normally meant to have, are now just around his waist on the side to the right. And then the Afuda kind of sits on his left. Just makes for a good contrast. Yeah, that's the way. I also forgot to say, the symbol on his back that I gave him is the Japanese kanji symbol for demigod. But I also, I kind of experimented, but I went for the kanji symbol that just means half or semi. Just kind of putting into perspective the ritual failing and almost making the Satsui no Haru even stronger and pushing him to his half kind of form that he adorns now. Here you can see me adding the kind of, once I've done the sketch, I then go over in just like hard lines. I normally use like an inking kind of pen. That's my main go-to. Sometimes for other sketches, like whenever I do like my Pokemon redesigns, or if I give a Pokemon a different type, I'll use sketching. But because the Pokemon style is very like light on shading, I kind of feel like the sketching brush just works a bit more to emanate that Pokemon style. Do you know what would be cool? So on a separate note, imagine Snorlax. Imagine if Snorlax was a fighting type and I just made him like mad swole, like he was just super. I'm gonna draw him. I'm gonna draw it. Don't be surprised. This is stuff I think about. And just again, if you are enjoying the video, or you like drawing, or you're just working on a project and you have this in the background, thank you so much for deciding to put this on. I will be doing like some tutorials in future, but for now I just like kind of show off what I can do. I am in no way a professional. This is just the way I draw, and I'm just sharing it because I think it'll be kind of cool. But yes, much appreciated for watching, and subscribe for more. I redesigned Sora, Link, and Mega Man so far, and I can't wait to have like a big playlist of all characters I've done. It's just, yeah, just refines the senses, as the cinema dude would say. Okay, now that the line work is done, the line work is the longest part. I added like veins and his scars. Whoa, I added veins and scars. But man, obviously my voice never breaks. One of the other long parts is doing the shading. Now this is a very detailed Akuma piece, so it takes some work. So normally I will go in by using an alpha lock. I kind of shade around him, then lock it in place so that anything I draw within that white will just stay in place. I draw rough areas on where the shadow is meant to coming from. That would be the top left. And then I just start refining it using like the smudge tool and just kind of polishing up areas, just using like white paintbrush and a gray until I get the desired effect. He kind of looks like Rambo in a way. As soon as I made his hair longer, I was like, oh, just looks a bit like Rambo, which is quite funny. Okay, so here you go. So normally when I added those little script or texty stuff, because I know it won't be seen, I can get away with just doing scribbles. Haha, saves me time. I don't care, this is my channel. Okay, I cut corners. But here you can see me going in with just like shading. It's funny because some areas, the way the light hits, you would say like it doesn't need shading, but those different artists or different people that illustrate have different ways of shading. And if you know how to, you can kind of get away with stuff and it doesn't look as bad or doesn't look unnatural. But I know I've made plenty of mistakes, don't get me wrong. But yeah, you can kind of break the rules sometimes and just kind of claim it as your style. Who can say anything, you know? Oh, Akuma, if you need to do this, it's just my style. Be gone. Okay, so yeah, here you can see me just refining detail. With the shading added, I then merge the colors by kind of just changing the layer option to like a multiply so that it goes darker, and now we have the desired effect. Normally I will change the color of the shading to like a blue or like a purple. I don't just like having a flat gray. and I add some highlights. Normally I go in by adding a neon green around areas where the light's coming from. And then once it's done, I change it into a white, duplicate the layer, and then make that layer a gradient and change the layer options until it looks shiny. Because it's his skin, I just wanted it to have some sort of glow to it, like as if he's standing on the moonlight in a way. Yep, and we are coming up to the final. Can't wait to show you guys the finished piece and something else that I decided to do later on. But sometimes I'm particular about the lines. I don't want them to go outside of black lines, but I also make them sit on top of the line work. It just adds something. I'm not sure why I do it. I could leave it under, but it's just what I choose to do. Okay, and I experimented and played with the idea of having him have like a gradient into a white, but I didn't like it. So I kept the hair normal. I could have maybe had it fade into a black, but nah, let's just keep that red. Around his hands now, I loved the way Oni from Street Fighter, anytime he does a move, his hands kind of light up. But what if, considering there's a purple, it lights up a bit, but just from his like arm or forearm. Here is my final. Really happy with it. I like the glowing hands and it just emanates some aura. And I like the theme, the way it came out with the Kakurazuzu bells and the raps. I also did 2 other variations that I kind of showed earlier. Yeah, looking at it now, I really like the purple and gold kind of thing we have going on. It just looks like my version of like a Shin Akuma. But overall, very happy with the way the main one, the second and the third one came out, even the original. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I put up polls for characters I'm thinking about redesigning, so I let you guys choose. So stick around for more updates in the future, and my socials are below. Peace.